Hi everyone and welcome back to my channel. Today we're going to be doing a review of The Bells by Dhonielle Clayton. And I'm really excited to do this review actually because The Bells was so much more than this flowery stuff that leads you to believe it's going to be flowery in this book. So let's get started. Basically, The Bells are about these women, or they're girls still, they're girls called the Bells. The Bells live in a town or a country of Orleans, where basically the country was cursed a long time ago by the gods who or by one of them who decided that the love of his life didn't want him, so he decided to curse the rest of the world. And basically now humans all look alike. They're very gray, they've got red eyes and very like dry hair. I think it's dark though, I think it's black hair if I remember correctly. Very black hair. And then basically Beauty created the Bells, and the Bells are there to help people have beauty and obtain beauty and become beautiful. So it is that notion that made it really hard for me to get going in this book. Like, this book, it was so hard for me to read because everything is so flowery and beautiful and everybody wants to be pretty and everyone needs to be pretty. So here are these pretty girls to make you pretty, and all of that was very hard for me to get because we all know I'm not really a contemporary person, and I know this is a fantasy, so I'm over here waiting for the fantasy, and I'm hoping that it's the fantasy part isn't just that these girls can make people pretty. And boy, was I wrong. It is not just that at all, but there are some extra fluffy parts that are just too sprinkled with flowers, with flower petals basically. And so basically these Bells have grown up their entire life learning how to make people pretty, and when it's finally time for their generation of Bells to try and be the favorite of the Queen of Orleans in order to be chosen to go live at the palace and serve the Queen and to serve Princess Sophia and to keep them beautiful. Because basically no matter what the Bells do, the people always revert to their natural gray notions. And so people constantly have to go see Bells, go to different what they call tea houses, in order to go see a Belle in order to not be gray, or to get breasts bigger or larger, smaller waist, larger waist, get plumper, longer hair, shorter hair, colored hair, whatever they want. It is the job of the Bells to give it to them, to make it happen. So basically these 7 girls are growing up to try and become the favorite and go be at the castle in the royal court, and then the rest will go to different tea houses amongst the land. So it's not like they're going to be killed or anything like that. They're just not going to be the favorite. They're not going to be the favorite Belle, which is what they've been growing up trying to do. And so our main character is Camellia Beauregard, and she is of course wanting to be the favorite, and her and one of her sisters, Amber or Ambrosia, is they're all named after flowers, or Ambrosia, which is another flowery detail that's just like, there's so much flower. All I could imagine in my head were pinks and colors and more pinks, and I'm not really a pink person, so it was just like ugh. But anyway, and basically those two are your top 2 contenders to become the favorite. And so they have to show off their skills in front of everybody and in front of the royal family, and it is up to the Queen to pick her favorite. I think when I made sure I remembered everything, I looked on Goodreads. I think Goodreads gives part of it away that I guess I feel like I have to give it away. I feel like I have to in order to talk more about what I want to talk about. So basically, spoiler, if you haven't read it, basically they go through their trials in order to become the favorite, and after much deliberation, people voting, all this kind of stuff, Ambrosia wins. And Ambrosia is the favorite of the queen. But Camellia becomes basically the second and ends up in the chrysanthemum tea house, which is the tea house closest to the palace, and it's where I guess the most rich people are going to be. There's other ones, the fire isles, the glass isles, there's other islands that the other sisters are going to go to. And then one also is going to go back home to raise more bells. Anyway, so Ambrosia wins. She becomes the favorite, and Camellia thinks that all is lost. Basically, she goes back to the chrysanthemum tea house, and while she's there, she starts to discover things. You know, her whole life she's taught that her and her sisters are the only bells out there, the only people who can make people beautiful, except for the last generation of bells who are still out there. But then as they become the new bells, that generation is supposed to leave. So she believes that they are the only bells. So when she comes to the chrysanthemum tea house, she believes that she is the only belle there, until she starts to overhear people about, oh, I'm so glad we finally have an official belle back. And she's like, official? There are other bells here? And Camellia starts having all of these, you know, starts noticing things. She starts digging deeper into what else is going on. She starts hearing screams at night and tears and crying and all this other stuff going on in the tea house. And so she starts to ask questions and is trying to figure things out. Next thing she knows, during her long days of being a belle, basically appointment after appointment after appointment after appointment of making people more beautiful, even though Camellia is one who is like, you are already beautiful the way that you are. So that is a positive aspect of this book, because there are other, you know, I'll get into it later. You know, she likes to tell people you're already beautiful the way that you are, but you know, of course they don't believe her, so she goes on. The next thing Camellia knows, her sister Ambrosia has done something terrible at the palace and has basically violated beauty laws that are enacted by the queen, and she has violated those laws, so she has to be kicked out. They do not want to kill a belle, but they will kick her out. And then Camellia is the one that has to be brought in. So Camellia gets to now be the favorite. And she now gets to dive into the world that Ambrosia had at court, and basically gets to work with Princess Sophia. Princess Sophia is a character in and of herself. She never ever believes that she's beautiful. She always wants to try new beauty standards, new beauty this, new beauty that, and if it's not good enough, you are in trouble. If you do not do everything that she asks, you are in trouble. She is the definition of a spoiled princess. That is Princess Sophia, but no one does anything about her. No one does anything, and if you do get on her bad side, that is the deadliest place to be. Camellia quickly finds out during her first few days at court how her life has changed forever, and how she has to try and survive at court, basically. And through all of this beauty and prettiness and flowers, there is a very dark side of court, and what the queen wants and what Princess Sophia wants and what everybody else wants and what is going on with the bells. There is so much more that Camellia does not understand, that she begins to understand. Through it all, she manages to find a little bit of romance, even though it is not appropriate for the bells to love. They are not supposed to love. They're supposed to stay focused. Camellia still manages to find a little bit of romance and a little bit of happiness throughout it all. But I'm gonna leave it at that, with the dark side of court and all the flowers and all the themes. So, speaking of theme, for the theme of this book, I gave this theme 4 stars. I did not give it 5 stars because like I said, all the flowery, all the prettiness. There is so much about the concept of beauty in this book that just seems so unhealthy for young girls that I just did not like. Like, genuinely, the whole premise of this book is to be beautiful, is to find a way to alter who you are to fit social standards. And I give it 4 instead of 3 just because of how Camellia treats it all. And that is, and if you read the book, you'll understand what I mean. But of how Camellia treats it all, that is why I give it 4 stars instead of 3 and instead of 5. I had to bring it down from 5 just because of all of the notions that beauty is a certain way, and that if you don't like something, you can just change it so easily. I didn't enjoy that, and that was really hard for me to get through at the beginning of this book, and that's what made it hard for me to push through, because I started it and all the flowers and crap made me put it back down. I did not enjoy that. And then I didn't want it to be 3 because I feel like some of the Belles understand the concept of beauty better than the others, and the concept of beauty is what's inside, and we start to really understand basically the darkness that lives inside others, or the ugliness that lives inside others, and then the beautifulness that lives inside some as well. Next up, our main character Camellia. I really like her. She's kind of stupid sometimes, like basically all YA main characters are. You just get used to it, I feel like. But I give her 4 stars as well. I believe she is, after she stops being stupid, I believe that she is strong. She has a good sense, or she, for a while, had a good sense of self and who she is and what kind of belle she wanted to be. And so I appreciate her for that. It's just, I couldn't give her 5 stars just because I felt like she could have been written to be a little bit stronger, to be even stronger than what she was, and to be able to grasp concepts a little faster. I guess that makes the book shorter if you do, but to be able to grasp concepts a little faster, I would have really appreciated that. Our villain, our antagonist. So I'm gonna go ahead and tell you, I put Princess Sophia as my villain, as my antagonist, because she's kind of the worst, like the absolute worst. And I only give her 4 stars. I probably should give her 3 stars just because, like, she's not a complex character. Not a complex villain. She's the bratty younger princess who basically can never legally be queen, so she decides to act out. And that is what she does. And she can't decide if she's beautiful or not, but she is smart. She's crazy. She is crazy, but she is smart in her own crazy way. Like, she's kind of ridiculous. And then overall, for the overall bit of this book, I gave it 4 stars. Like I said, after I got through the beginning with all of this beauty and blah, 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 after I got through the beginning, the book became so much better. Like, under all of those beautiful flowers, there are some thorns in there. There are some actual thorns that will prick you and will make you bleed, and that is what made this story continue to be at 4 stars, because I'm telling you, as we just kept talking about body image, self-perception, I have to be the most beautiful. Beauty is everything. If you're not beautiful, you're terrible, and nobody wants you and nobody loves you. All of that was coming through this book. That is what I gathered from this book. That is what knocked this down a star for me, because it is very, very focused on physical appearance. There's not enough mention of the emotional. Like, Camellia mentions it every now and again, and that is why I gave her her star rating. But other than that, there's not enough mention of the emotional in this book, and that is what gives it only 4 stars for me. I definitely recommend this book, and like, if you are reading it or if you stopped reading it after the beginning, keep going, keep pushing. It gets so much better, like so much better, and I cannot wait for book 2 because the ending, the ending is a good one. So I cannot wait for book 2. Now that I understand the concept of this book, I cannot wait. So anyway, if you've read the book, let me know what you thought down below. I cannot wait to read the comments and see what you guys thought. If you haven't read the book, I'm telling you, pick it up. You're gonna like it. I don't know. I would say it kind of compares to A Court of Thorns and Roses, but it doesn't. Like, it doesn't. It's still so much flowery than A Court of Thorns and Roses, but it's kind of like it was hard to get through A Court of Thorns and Roses until it got good. Like, I guess that's how I picture it. Anyway, so pick it up, read it. I think a lot of people will enjoy it. But if you like this video, go ahead and like this video. If you're not subscribed to my channel, go ahead and hit that subscribe button down below. If you're already subscribed, welcome back, and thank you for watching. I really appreciate it. And don't forget to follow me on all of the social medias. And until next time, keep turning the pages.